The notion of travel provides us with lots of images and lots of experiences. I had been invited by Catholic Stewardship Consultants, the group that helps us with what we do with stewardship as a way of life in our parish, to speak at their conference in Wichita, Kansas this past week at the Monsignor Magritte Stewardship Conference. Well, I agreed to do that. I was asked to be the celebrant and homilist for the conference mass and also to give one of the talks. I learned a lot. I had never been to Wichita before, and I found out that there are no direct flights from Cleveland to get there. I also learned in checking the advance weather in the Plain Dealer that this time of year it's about 101 during the daytime and about 75 for a low at night. I did know that the notion of stewardship, while biblically based, but the way that we're practicing it was really born in Wichita, Kansas, at St. Francis of Assisi Parish there. And now the whole diocese has embraced stewardship as a way of life, as we have as a parish these past 4 years. That we receive and we share time and talent and treasure. Well, I was routed by the airline from Cleveland to Chicago to Wichita. And so waiting around in airport terminals, I had a great opportunity to observe travelers, lots of them, just wondering, where are they going? And I wonder why. Is it for business? Is it for pleasure? Is it for a funeral? I also noticed all the places you could buy food, lots of them, and lots of different kinds. And in this day and age when you get very little to eat on the airplane, it's very important to take some food for the journey. And that reminds me of today's gospel, food for the journey. Jesus says, "I am the living bread come down from heaven. Anyone who eats this bread will live forever. And the bread that I will give is my flesh for the life of the world." We are on our way. We are on pilgrimage to the kingdom of heaven. And day by day, we get closer on that journey. And Jesus gives us himself, the bread of life, as food for our journey. I got to Wichita on Tuesday afternoon, and I had dinner that night with Monsignor Magritte, who is really the father of stewardship in the Catholic Church here in the United States. That afternoon, before dinner, I had the chance to visit St. Francis of Assisi Parish that I'd heard so much about and read so much about, where Monsignor Magritte, who is now in his 80s, had been pastor for more than 30 years. St. Francis of Assisi Parish, where stewardship really began for us, and the details of which you and I are practicing right now or are invited to practice as a way of life. St. Francis of Assisi Parish is a blue-collar parish with today 2,600 households to our 1,700 households here at St. Joseph's. St. Francis Parish is located in a very ordinary neighborhood. There are 750 students in St. Francis Day School, where there is no tuition. There are 300 students from St. Francis Parish in Catholic high schools where there is no tuition. The parish pays for the education in Catholic day school, in Catholic high school, for any family that wants to enroll their children. There are 500 students in Parish School of Religion, and 70% of the parishioners use their Sunday offertory envelopes. Now, here's a little bit about the spiritual side of the parish. At St. Francis Parish, 85% of the registered parishioners attend Mass every single Sunday or Saturday evening. 85%. Here at St. Joseph's, about 30% of registered households are here every week, Saturday evening or Sunday morning. The 30% is about the average for our Diocese of Cleveland and for this part of the U.S. 85% at St. Francis Parish are there every Sunday. 300 adults and 350 children attend Mass every weekday. 650 people at weekday Masses. The sacrament of penance, confession, is celebrated 6 days a week. They have adoration of the Blessed Sacrament 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, and 500 people have committed themselves to an hour of adoration each week. 10 young men from the parish have been ordained as priests. There are 70 organizations in the parish with 2,000 volunteers. The parish sponsors a free medical clinic in downtown Wichita and helps with volunteers. Sharing time and talent and treasure is a way of life at St. Francis of Assisi Parish. And the Sunday offertory collection, I'd heard about that before. When I was there Tuesday afternoon, I picked up a parish bulletin. For the last weekend of July, the Sunday offertory collection was $77,443. Ours here at St. Joseph's for the last weekend of July was $11,931. Now the whole Diocese of Wichita operates that way. They believe that education of young people in Catholic schools is such a wonderful and important opportunity that in the whole Diocese of Wichita, there is no tuition for Catholic grade schools or Catholic high schools. Where does the money come from? The parish pays for it. Now, what is the secret? There really is no secret. It's a conversion of our hearts to recognize that everything I have is a gift from God, and I have a responsibility to share it. And when we each do what we can do, look what can happen. There were some themes from this Monsignor Magritte Stewardship Conference that are not new, but they're important, and they sum them up. Everything we have is a gift from God, to be received with gratitude and to be shared with gratitude. We give to a need, we also need to give of our time and our talent and our treasure.